This video is not for you. If you predict that the Toronto housing market is going to crash, if you don't see real estate as a possible opportunity in a crisis, you can close this now. I'm not here to convince skeptical people to trust anything. I'm just here to help people with a winning mindset to gain more. You see, market uncertainties will separate these two types of people. That's why the gap between the rich and the poor becomes wider every time when there is a crisis. Prices are still pretty much the same as pre-COVID. So what's the opportunities here? The opportunity is not about the price. I'm going to share with you 4 reasons why it is the best time to invest now. Number 1, printing money. I'm sure you know that all the governments around the world are printing money to save the economy. The technical term for printing money is quantitative easing, QE. When was the last significant QE in recent history? That's right, in 2009, after the global financial crisis. Did you see the QE effect on the Canadian dollars? It went all the way up. Remember those days when the exchange rate of Canadian dollar to US dollar was 1 to 1. So why does currency matter to you? You see, if you use outside funds to buy things in Canada, you are now getting a 10% discount compared to 2 years ago. If history is going to repeat itself, then the Canadian dollar is going to shoot way up after the massive QE for the coronavirus. Now, this is just one side effect of QE. Another side effect of massive money printing is money is getting cheaper and cheaper. The value of money is depreciating. If you just let cash sit at the bank, your savings will depreciate. Other people are going to borrow the money you put in the bank with a historical low interest rate. So your money will be making more money for other people. With the same amount of money sitting at your bank, you can only exchange for less and less valuable goods. So you need to hold on to valuable goods like gold, real estate, or whatever you believe in. Indeed, if we look back in history again, ever since the massive QE in 2009, real estate prices in Hong Kong, in Canada, in US have all been going up crazy until the virus hit. Now we are facing a crisis again. Governments are printing money again. Money will be getting cheaper again. There are many things we can learn from history. Number 2, oil prices. I'm sure you have heard about oil prices going negative. Do you know that the Canadian dollar also dropped to its lowest point since 2004? Is there a strong correlation between oil prices and the Canadian dollar? You bet. The blue line shows the normalized oil prices from 2004 to now. The red line is Canadian dollar versus US dollar. You see, the shape of the blue and the red lines are pretty much the same. When oil price goes up, the Canadian dollar also goes up. When oil prices goes down, the Canadian dollar also goes down. A main reason for the drastic drop in oil prices is because of the sudden drop in demand. With the whole world sitting at home, nobody's driving around, and no one is flying around. Once the travel restrictions are lifted, the demand for oil will go back up. The Canadian dollar will most likely follow the uptrend as well. So if you want to take advantage of the currency discount, now is the time. As Canada is an immigration-heavy country, many people have foreign money. So it is not hard to imagine that many people would be taking advantage of the low Canadian dollar. Number 3, low interest rate. Another economic stimulus is the interest rate cut. Interest rate dropped to pretty much close to zero. Again, just like 2009, after the global financial crisis. So it is cheap to borrow money. Mortgage rates are almost down to 2%. I actually refinanced 2 of my investment properties just a couple weeks ago. I will be reinvesting the fund into more properties because of number 4, leverage. Leverage is one of the biggest advantages you get with real estate investment. Why? You see, bank trusts real estate because the bank is willing to invest in a bigger share than you in a property. So obviously, the bank thinks that the risk is very low. That's why mortgages is the cheapest way to borrow money from the bank. You normally put 20 to 30% down and the bank chips in for the rest. So if you can just put 10% down instead of the usual 20 to 30%, then you get a bigger than usual leverage, right? What about 10% and wait for 4 years before getting a mortgage? That's a leverage of both money and time. It is an advantage that you don't need to worry about getting a tenant right away. Immigrants are the biggest drive for our rental market, but they are waiting for border restriction to be lifted. So it will take a few more months for the rental markets to recover. You see, low deposit programs in pre-construction projects will be golden new opportunities in this pandemic. Of course, you need to be very careful about the developers who offer these special low deposit programs during this time. If you have watched this far and would like to take action to protect your money and grow your wealth, then I can help you land on the right investment. Click the link below in the description to schedule an appointment with me so we can work together to achieve your goal.